Good afternoon. So I'm just going to be going through like my whole chemistry experience throughout the school year, and I will talk about how it has impacted me and how it has helped me and what I just went through. So let's get right in it. So, if you think about it, chemistry is everywhere. Like, literally. Like, everything we do as humans, whether it be eating or even just like breathing or blinking, all has chemistry involved in it. And chemistry is definitely not just mixing chemicals and expecting an explosion or a specific chemical reaction. It is part of our daily lives, and multiple chemical reactions are definitely happening in our bodies right now. I don't think chemistry is a subject we should be scared of. I know multiple students, including myself and classmates, and other sections, most definitely got triggered by the word chemistry, and there was definitely just an influx of thoughts of memorizing charges, knowing different stoichiometry formulas, balancing chemical equations, and much more, which was definitely traumatizing for all of us. So I can confidently say it was definitely a hard subject to tackle for all of us. Career wise, I've always been so centered on biology. I wholeheartedly love that subject so much, and so I decided to take an AP class based on it. And for the entirety of 10th grade, every day after class, I have been doing AP biology, and it wasn't a subject I dreaded, but a subject I look forward to all the time, no matter how draining that day was. And the thought of about learning about life and how everything happens just fascinated me so much. It was something that I personally never got bored of. And I still remember the first ever day of AP biology. It was literally a chemistry lesson. Like, what? You have no idea how shocked I was. I was like, wait a minute, I did not sign up for this. And I knew almost nothing about chemistry, and I only had a really vague stereotype of it. And I thought of it only as chemical equations and mixing random chemicals and everything about like formulas, and I kind of hated the thought of that. And so it has always intrigued me, and wished until that specific class. And our first lesson in AP biology, which I still remember to this day, was defining atoms and compounds, learning about ionic and covalent bonds, and something about van der Waals forces? Like, what the heck even is that? And I was full on reflecting to myself, why would a biology teacher, who's supposed to be telling us about evolution and DNA and amino acids, be teaching anything about chemistry and atoms and all of that? And as the first ever topic, too? And then it hit me. That means learning all of this chemistry and learning anything about chemistry would be a basis for our future lessons, which means everything about biology is basically chemistry. And from that moment on, I started to learn how valuable chemistry was to all of life. All organisms that we study in biology are literally made up of atoms, and atoms are the building blocks of all matter. And we are chemistry. Everything around us is chemistry. And once I truly grasped that idea and fact, chemistry and that subject as a whole has been something I love to learn, and it was indefinitely something I did not dread. And I would be lying if I said I didn't struggle at all with this subject. I very much did, but I did not get bored once. And I loved learning a lot about it because it played a huge role in biology, and the things I learned in chemistry aided my performance in AP as well, and vice versa. So now I will be talking about all the lessons from each quarter that I still remember to this day and why they stood out to me. So to start with quarter one, there was a lot of understanding the concept of mass under matter, like law of conservation of mass, and the whole concept of energy not being created nor destroyed, and that it just transfers actually was interrelated to a lot of the future topics, and so it was a very good basis to have this as one of our very first lessons, even with AP Biology. It was related to thermodynamics, and already having an introduction to the law of conservation of mass helped me get a head start. I realized that chemistry really is centralized science, and it is related to literally everything, like you can't escape it. And these particular concepts helped me establish a baseline that would help in so many other chemistry lessons, like relating mathematics to science by reviewing rules and guidelines for converting units, significant figures, decimal places, and scientific notation, which all had a significant impact on multiple lessons such as stoichiometry, and learning and studying significant figures played a huge role in all of that. And all of the lessons in quarter one were very important, and they allowed me to be able to grasp future chemistry lessons so much more, and I was also able to understand the value it had in real life and how it applies. So moving on to quarter two. To me, it had the most significant lessons and the most universal ones, which carry a very central idea in science as a whole. And these particular lessons also helped me a lot in AP Biology, as they shared a lot of topics, and these particular topics served as a baseline for me for biology, and so that was also a really big help. I remember learning about the calculation of the numbers of protons, neutrons, and electrons for atoms and isotopes, and that took me a while to get. But in the end, I got used to it, and it was really important to learn all of this because it once again all relates to one central idea. And knowing this helps us establish atomic mass and what its specific atomic number it is. And this relates to stoichiometry, and it introduces to the balancing charges and predicting one's chemical properties. And this allowed us to explain and illustrate concepts under atomic structure, isotopy, and chemical bonding. Quarter 2 also finally introduced us to the periodic table, which was very intimidating at first, at least to me, but I eventually did get the hang of it, and we practiced discussing the overall trends and periods and groups of the periodic table, which helped me so much in memorization. And knowing patterns and trends helped me so much when I came to being able to memorize the periodic table, so I am very thankful I was taught the trends. And quarter 2 also tested my memorization skills a lot, and I can really say that they improved so much because of the amount of the memorization I had to do, so I won't be complaining. And we all also learned how to write chemical formula, name compounds, and translate word equations into chemical equations using formulae, subscripts, and symbols, which would then help us truly understand the next lessons in the next quarter, and my favorite, balancing chemical equations. So in quarter 3, we were able to classify types of chemical reactions, and we performed many calculations involving equations and types of responses. And learning all of this was very challenging for me, and so I needed all the help I could get. I will forever remember chemistry, not because of how challenging it was, but because of the bonds I created with it. I still remember every class period before a written test. We and our classmates would all be scrambling just to help each other out with anything we needed. And I learned that by helping others out, I even get better at it with myself. And chemistry definitely held our bond together as a class very tight, because it's like we all struggled and suffered together, and yet we helped each other out no matter what. And chemistry showed me that the motto, teamwork makes the dream work, was very present in our class because of this. So on to the last and final quarter, stoichiometry. In order to do stoichiometric calculations, we had to apply almost everything we learned in the previous quarter: atomic masses, getting the AMU, subscripts, balancing chemical equations, types of chemical reactions, in order to be able to accomplish any formula. Because of this, I learned a lot about application 2 and how to apply different concepts in many different problems, shapes, and forms, and that all of it is really useful. So I'm very thankful for being able to challenge myself this whole school year and to accomplish all of this. So now I'm going to be talking about my personal impact of chemistry and how it improved me as a person. Yeah. So I think we can all admit that chemistry was a really hard subject to tackle. It requires a lot of time, strength, and energy to master, and that was the case for me, at least. I was always dreading the written tests and the formulas, and usually at first, when I am being taught something, I don't normally get it with a click. Or I do, but then I forget, like right after. And this is a pattern I noticed with myself. I thought that I just wasn't naturally smart and that there was nothing I could do about it except for coping. I was never usually good at math, and chemistry had a lot of math, and that was a really big struggle for me. And even with that, I was still really looking forward to getting good at chemistry, because like I've said before, chemistry is science, and I absolutely love science. So I didn't want to just be average, I wanted to be good. And with a lot of trial and error, and procrastination when it came to studying, I finally figured myself out, and I realized something that would help me big time, now and most definitely in the future. And I knew that it's just all about practice. Chemistry is all about practice. You need to keep practicing in order for you to get the hang of it and to be able to apply it to different situations. And practicing is also key when it comes to being able to memorize and fully grasp many different calculations and formulas. And this was something I didn't really keep in mind beforehand. This one singular realization would then be the cause of my EVs in multiple tests. And I did not stop practicing until I was 100% confident and 100% happy with myself, no matter how long it took, and I learned to be very patient with myself. And with this new idea, I was able to apply it to real life. All you really need to get somewhere, anywhere you want, is practice. And the statement, practice makes perfect, sounds really cliche. At least to me it did for like the past 15 years of my life. But I am so proud of myself now for finally understanding what that really means and how important the application of that sentence would be in one's life. Chemistry also helped me learn about many of my learning abilities and what techniques best fit me in retaining information and getting good grades. Other than continuously practicing, watching YouTube videos helped me a lot, and looking at things from multiple different perspectives aided in my studies very thoroughly. And I then learned the importance of application, and looking at things from multiple different perspectives allowed me to truly grasp a singular concept like 1,000 times more. And this particular idea can also be applied to certain real-life scenarios. Chemistry has taught me a lot about myself this past school year, and all of these things that I've learned will be so much help to me now and in the future. And that is the impact chemistry had on my improvement as a person, and especially a student. So, this is me in the present versus me in the future. Had chemistry not been part of my education. And why, you ask, am I crying in the second picture? But that would be because I'm jobless. Because me personally, I refuse to go in any other field other than science. And science is chemistry. And science makes me really happy, so I don't want to go anywhere else. And because I'm stubborn like that, and I don't want to go anywhere else, I'm going to be left jobless, and I'm going to have no money, and I'm just going to be there crying. Because no science is going to exist without chemistry. Biology, what I love, what I want to pursue, is not going to exist without chemistry. And if chemistry hadn't been a part of my education, then I probably wouldn't even be able to get in any sort of degree without chemistry. So yeah, that is why I am crying in the next picture. Thank you. So now, you may be wondering, why am I sharing all these reasons? And I think we should all share reasons on the value of chemistry as a subject and our knowledge of how fundamental it is to know chemistry and what it's all about with other people, especially younger people, to hopefully set the impression that chemistry isn't supposed to be a scary subject and that this particular subject has so much value in life. Our basic requirements of food, clothes, housing, health, energy, and pure air, water, and soil are all met by chemistry. Chemical technologies improve our quality of life in many ways by offering new solutions to issues with health, resources, and energy use. As a result, learning about chemistry helps us prepare for life in the actual world. And educating the youth on the importance of chemistry and introducing them to STEM-based subjects will hopefully encourage them to join STEM-based fields, such as medicine, biology, chemical engineering, and more. And we should be able to change the stigma of chemistry, and hopefully through our reasons, they convince people why it shouldn't be an intimidating subject, because if ever they do learn to love chemistry and they do decide to pursue a career in it, they would most definitely make a difference in this world. And they would most definitely have a huge impact, whether it be finding a cure for an illness, finding new ways to battle climate change, or making new inventions. Chemistry is part of everything. And teaching much more students about it, and hopefully teaching them to love the subject, as well as letting them know that you can most definitely have fun with it, will just, all in all, benefit our world and society as a whole. So thank you so much for listening.